Yo, Saf, back once again. Before we start, thank you guys so much. Everybody that's been listening and giving feedback and, what I'm saying, just showing up whenever I drop these episodes. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate the feedback and the love and the support and the good energy, all that. Thank you so much. If you read the title for this episode, though, you know this is the Certified Lover Boy review. This is my take, my review, my thoughts and opinions on Drake's new project that's been out, 3 weeks now. I'm actually going to address why I took so long to do this review. But let me get my intro music out the way real quick, and then we'll discuss all of that. This is the Drake Certified Lover Boy review. So, why did it take me so long to do? Well, that's not even really so long to me, but why did it take so long to some of y'all, in some of y'all's opinion, for me to do the Certified Lover Boy review? Long story short, I really like to sit with music and digest it. Long story long, that plus things change, my opinions change, my views change, the way I hear music changes under different influences, different life circumstances, all kind of shit. Like, this music is 21 songs long. This project, this album is 21 songs long for a reason. It's not meant to be quickly digested and regurgitated. So, just me, the way I like to listen to music, the way I like to digest projects, I sat with it. Yes, it's going on the third week of the album being out, but now I feel comfortable giving my review, knowing how I feel about the album and all of the changes I've experienced listening to the music and all that shit like that. So, that's what I'm here to do. I get some of y'all are probably listening and feel like, oh, I'm doing it wrong. You're supposed to drop this the day after the album came out, X, Y, and Z. Insert yourself into the conversation while it's hot. Get your engagements, your clicks, your views, likes, retweets, all that shit. Get it up just by virtue of being a part of the conversation while it's happening. All that is cool, but I don't care. I'm not really doing this for that. I just want to give a solid critique, a solid review. It's going on 3 weeks. I feel like even this might be a little too soon. I was hesitant, but it's like at this point, I done started picking favorites and playlisting certain songs and skipping certain songs on the album. So I'm like, yeah, it's time to get my review. Am I going to be like this every time? No. When singles come out, that's easy. I could listen to them a couple times, maybe give y'all my take, my opinion on it, my view on it within like 2 days, maybe. Just depending on the song and how I feel about it. Same thing with music videos and shit like that. But with full bodies of work, I'm going to take my time and listen to the music. Because it's important to me that I let the music breathe. Let the music go through me and make me feel what I'm supposed to feel before I get on here and express what I'm feeling. Case in point, the Donda review. People like it. It just is what it is. People like my Donda review, and I feel like a large part of that is because I sat with the music and I was honest about the fact that I felt the way about it when I was first listening to it, the day it came out, and the day or two after. And now that it's been out for over 3 weeks at this point, or about 3 going on 4 weeks at this point, my opinion and view on it has shifted in almost a major way because I didn't feel how I felt about it when I first listened to it. So that's my whole reason, long story long, for taking my time with these reviews. I really want to give my honest critique and opinion coming from the standpoint of I've been living with this music on a daily basis for the past X amount of time that is not 2 or 3 days after it came out. Now, with that being said, if you do want to hear early critiques of both Donda and Certified Lover Boy, you can hit up my dog YouTube channel. His name is Yeah I'm Stacy. It's YEAMSTACY. IMSTACIE, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's how I spell it. I didn't write it down, but shout out to my dog Stacy. He had me and a few of my other friends from the Can We Talk Music podcast on. We were discussing basically non-diverse certified lover boy, and that was, I want to say, a day or two after Certified Lover Boy came out. So eventually, my opinions and my thoughts are gonna change. I was only within 48 hours into listening to that project, and I said things that I probably don't feel today. Y'all can go back and cross-reference. I'm gonna just go ahead and jump into album review for myself. So let's go. Let's start with the rollout, because we were supposed to get this album like 2 years ago. Like, I think he announced it at the tail end of 2019. Of course, 2020 was the year of COVID. That bitch had everybody locked down, so we was not getting nothing from Drake. He caught COVID a couple times. He had another basketball injury. Like, a lot happened in 2020. We did get Laugh Now, Cry Later, which I'm happy that it was not on this project. I like that song was just a standalone single, and that video was just a standalone moment in time, and he did not try to take the success of Laugh Now, Cry Later. It was like billion plus streams across multiple streaming platforms, and try to stick that on this album to raise the numbers up. He really was just like, it was a time, it was a moment. Certified Lover Boy is the move right now, so that's what I'm going with. So, as far as the rollout is concerned, it was long anticipated. like I said, this album was announced back in 2019. We were supposed to get it a long time ago. He opted to do Dark Lane demo tapes instead, since y'all could not stay out of his hard drive leaking his songs and shit. So he put something together with songs that were supposed to be on this project and gave it to us in the form of Dark Lane demo tapes. Still, that was a solid body of work. But as far as this album is concerned, it was overdue. But I like the rollout nevertheless, right? The billboards and the cities of the artists who are going to be featured or who were featured on this project, that shit's fire to me. I was like, oh, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? He had Wayne on there, so that was a billboard in New Orleans talking about Wayne being on the project, and there was a billboard in New York talking about Jay-Z and Nicki being on the project, and he even got one erected where Tim's is from, because she's on the project. And like, I like that. I like that Drake made this nationwide campaign for Certified Lover Boy via some very simple and minimalistic billboards, just being strategically placed in the cities of the artists who are going to be featured on the project. He also had like this dope Nike collab, which I still want. I still want them Certified Lover Boy pieces from that Nike collab. I don't know if they'll ever be released again. I don't even know if it's still on sale or what. I don't know what's going on with it, but I want it. I feel like the merch was fire. Nike partnering with Drake to make his Certified Lover Boy merch fire, especially given the fact that he has another brand with Nike, Nocta, that had nothing to do with Certified Lover Boy, but still fire nonetheless. The little part in the hair, that heart shit that he kept getting cut into his head, like, that's also genius marketing and rollout tactic for this album, because who else but Drake is getting a heart-shaped part cut into his fucking waves? I don't know. Nobody, right? It's Drake. So I feel like that was dope. And then, even though this whole Kanye West beef thing was exhausting to me, like, I'm kind of over it. Like, not in a sense where it's like, oh, these niggas are boring or whatever, because ain't nobody dropping no diss record. They definitely been throwing shots back and forth at each other. It's just like, I feel like, I don't know, it's reached a plateau and it's not spicy no more. Like, I'm ready to move past it. But it was still genius, a genius part of the rollout for this project, because y'all saw what happened with the group text and the little Joker picture or whatever. I like Drake's response to that. He took over ESPN, to announce CLB. Like, there was a moment in time where something was happening on ESPN, then the camera just cut real quick. You see CLB September 3rd release date on the TV. You knew it was Drake, and then ESPN's program resumed. Like, I thought that was dope, especially given that is also how the Joker in the Batman series chose to address Batman in a cynical way, if that makes sense. If you're a blurred listening to this podcast, which you should be, because me as well, and I'm kind of doing this for us, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There was a point in Batman where them niggas was not fucking with each other and Joker was being a dick, so he like took over a popular news station or whatever and broadcast this crazy message across the screens or whatever and left it alone. Like, that's normal actually within the Batman series, but I just thought it was dope that Drake took that tactic as well after Kanye labeled him a Joker in that group chat with Pusha T and all these other numbers that was smart enough not to respond. I mentioned the feature artists before, so let's go ahead and jump into that. I've got features and production. Like, this album, sonically, it sounds really good. Not too far from what you would expect from a Drake album. So consistent with music that he's put out prior, but still like fresh and new somehow. Like, you got all kind of production on here. I see Masego, 40 is everywhere, of course. Metro Boomin, of course, had to make an appearance. Bink, Party Next Door got some production on here. Wonder Girl, 1985. Like, there's a bunch of people you do know and a bunch of people you don't. And that's not a bad thing, because Drake is good for that. He's good for giving us people that we don't know and making us know them by the time he's done working with them. So all these people who had a hand in the production of Certified Lover Boy, thank you, because the shit sound fire. As far as the features are concerned, we got Lil Baby, Lil Durk and Giveon. Jay-Z made an appearance as well. Travis Scott. Nicki had some, what would you call those vocals? Narrating vocals, commentary. Nicki had a cool little part in there. We'll talk about that in a second. Future is on here twice. We got Young Thug on here. Yebba. 21 Savage and Project Pat made an appearance. I said Tim's already. Ty Dolla $ign is also back. Appreciated that. Lil Wayne and Rick Ross is on here, as well as Kid Cudi. A stacked list. All of these names are the usual suspects that we will see when it comes to a Drake project, but still welcome nonetheless. I think this might be the first time Drake has done anything with Kid Cudi, if I'm not mistaken. I think he might have did something with Yebba before, but if not, first time here. All of this is dope though. Like, I appreciate Drake and his feature selections. He always picks features that complement his sound of music very well. He don't let nobody get on here just saying whatever the fuck. He brings them into his world and his sound of music and make sure they fit perfectly. If not, the song doesn't happen. I really appreciate that. He does the same thing with the production as well. Like, there's not a bad beat on this album. Like, all of these beats are fire. Like, the songs may get skippable after, hearing them back to back, so many times or whatever. But ultimately, all of the music on here is good. None of the beats are trash. None of the songs are trash. Like, music-wise, let's just go ahead and get into it, because the music is fire, in my opinion. I will say there's nothing like groundbreaking here. Like, the way Kanye goes out of his way to make sure his sound is constantly evolving, that's not the level of attention that Drake has, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. What I'm saying is Drake has found his sound, his sweet spot, his lane, and he cruises in that bitch. Like, there's really no need for him to veer and try to go other directions or whatever. Like, he found his spot and he rides that shit, and it's perfect pretty much every time. I don't know if one day we'll get that feeling where Drake completely steps out of what he feels to be comfort or what we feel to be his comfort zone and gives us something completely left that we wasn't expecting. But if that day never comes, that's cool, because the music that he puts out is good and we know him for that music. We love him for that music. So I'm cool with that music staying the way it is. Growth, maybe, you know what I'm saying? I would like to see a little bit, maybe. But like I said, if he decides he want to stay in this lane, that's cool, because the music is going to always sound good if he decides to stay like this. What I have noticed him perfect, though, or like really put time and energy into making sure it sounds great, is these beats or these songs like In Too Deep and Fair Trade and Champagne Poetry that start off one way with one beat, one, sound sonically or whatever, and then like kind of halfway through the song the production flips and it's a whole different vibe, but it all fits together. Like, I really fuck with that and that sound of music. He did it on Life Is Good with Future. Like, him and Travis Scott have made that like their thing at this point. Like, I don't think there's a Travis Scott and Drake collaboration where the beat is just the same all the way through, but I really fuck with that. I think if Drake continues with that sound of music and making that like his thing or whatever, like, he's not going nowhere, because nobody does that better than him, in my opinion anyway. Especially if Future and or Travis Scott is on the song. If one of them two niggas is on a song with Drake and that beat switch up somewhere in the middle, or you know what I'm saying, like that beat change up somewhere, that shit about to be fired. And based on what I said, that's the truth. Everything that he's done with Travis Scott, like, fire. All the songs with Future where the beats kind of do that, fire. So I'm fucking with that. I'm glad Drake added that to his like arsenal of sonic sound or whatever. Like, I fuck with that. The writing on this project is fire. I expected that though. Like, there's no Drake project that is terribly written or that's not halfway good. Like, Drake's writing is fire. Plenty of clever like quotables and Instagram captions in the lyrics, but then there's also this level of transparency and deepness to it that just makes it relatable on every facet. Like, I feel like Drake makes human music. Like, he not out here capping, you know what I'm saying? Not out here trying to act like he's bigger than he is. Like, he puts his heart and soul into writing this music, and it translates like that every time. I like how consistent he is when it comes to writing as well with his features. Like, all of the features that he has on his projects, they feel natural. I said it already. I feel like Drake brings these features into his world, into his sound or whatever, and they make like consistent quality music. Opposite of like what DJ Khaled does, where he just has a bunch of big moments on his project because he knows how to put artists together that make good collaborative hits. Drake is like, nah, you might not be the biggest artist, or you might be a big artist or whatever, but I'm going to get on here, rap how I want to rap and say what I want to say. I want you to feel me and what I'm saying before you put your verse together. Lil Baby spoke on that before. Like, he said whenever he knows that he's about to work with Drake or whatever, he really puts attention into writing a solid verse, like a good verse based on whatever pieces of music Drake sends him so that he can get into that mode. And his verse on Girls Want Girls is proof. Like, that is a good Lil Baby verse. Like, one of Lil Baby's best verses is on Girls Want Girls. And I really appreciate Drake making artists feel like they have to step their pen up whenever they get on a track with him, because he could just have a bunch of artists feature on his project. He's Drake. He can get anybody he wants to. He's rich enough. He's got the status enough. Like, he could get anybody he wants on these projects. So I'm really glad that he makes people feel like they need to really, really create some good music with this nigga, instead of just, like I said, having these DJ Khaled moments where it's like, oh, Drake and Rihanna, Drake and Nicki, Drake, Nicki and Wayne, or whatever. And there's these big moments and it don't sound cohesive because these artists are just putting out music or making a verse for a song. Like, Drake actually takes the time to craft a song, not just say, here's the song already done, do your best with a feature verse, and that's going on my album. Like, I'm glad he's attentive enough to the music to actually give us quality sound. I mentioned Nicki Minaj. Like, I would have loved to hear a verse from Nicki on Certified Lover Boy, but I'm satisfied with what we got because it fits so perfectly. There's a song, y'all know it, Poppy's Home. I think that's the second song on the album, whatever. Nicki has a part on there where she's like, she got to bring the switch out and she need to start charging people to be her son. Like, I like when Nicki talk her shit, and I like how Drake positioned this song, right? Because Poppy's Home is pretty much him sunning everybody in the industry. Like, y'all know where y'all getting y'all inspiration from? It's me. Y'all know y'all was not rapping and singing like that before me. I guess Ja Rule could probably claim that before Drake, but obviously Drake does this on a completely different level, sonically and hit wise, as far as Ja Rule is concerned. Not taking anything away from Ja Rule, because he proved during his verses with Fat Joe that, his hit stick now. And he was out here being melodic and shit before we knew who Drake was. But with Drake, like, on Poppy's Home, just letting all these niggas know, like, I'm dad out here. And then here's mom. And Nicki coming on there talking her shit, because it's true. Like, if you pay attention to the sonic landscape of music today, most of the guys, they fall up under Drake's umbrella of lineage in the music game. All of the women fall up under Nicki. Like, it just is what it is. Nicki Minaj and Drake are literally the mother and father of current day music. If you are against that or denying it in any way, cool, have your own opinions, but let's just be real about this shit. Like, you either came from up under Drake, you got the Bryson Tillers of the world and Brent Faiyaz's, like, people who sing and rap at the same time or are very melodic in their music or emotional and heartfelt way before it was cool to be a nigga that wears his heart on his sleeve. And then on the women's side, Nicki. Like, who else other than Nicki Minaj are you modeling your career after? You modeling your look after, your sound? Who else are you sampling? Like, these are today's hip hop parents. And it just is what it is. And I thought that it was dope that they had made that correlation on Poppy's Home. There's also a level on this album that I've noticed where Drake is still being, like, private about his kid. I think he was really serious about saying that. I wasn't trying to hide Adonis from y'all. I was trying to hide y'all from this nigga because I don't want y'all to taint my child. Like, he's rapping about being a father and, showing love to his kids through, like, cool one-liners or whatever. It's like saying he had to fuck a bunch of women to get a kid like this. And he also made another reference that I can't remember right now. But he's still showing love to his son while being private. I know some people, I think Charlamagne was like, he want to hear more about how Drake feels about fatherhood. But at the same time, I'm cool with Drake just letting us know, like, yes, I have a kid. I love my son, but y'all niggas still finna get this work. Because that's something that we can get into down the line. Like Drake is still very much in his prime, still the biggest rapper in the world right now. Like, save some stuff for later. Like, your kid is still a kid. He's still growing and learning life. He's still small and in a place where the world don't need to be in his business like that. So I'm cool with Drake just making his one-liners or whatever, letting y'all know I ain't ashamed of my kid. He's here. I didn't plan to be a father. He said that I didn't plan to be a father, but it's here. Like, I'm cool with that. I feel like it's dope. What baffles me though is this love for Houston women. It don't baffle me. I know quite a few people from Houston, famous and not, and they're all great women. Like, Houston does seem to turn out some very, very, very great women. So I understand why Drake is so enthralled and mesmerized by them. But he don't shy away from making mention of it on this project. And that's on brand because Drake always talking about Houston and the girls there. So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that somebody in Houston got Drake fucked up. There's somebody down there, somebody down there in Houston that really got Drake heart. And he is struggling to get that shit back because he cannot go one project without making mention of Houston or the women that come from there. That's just a little take that I noticed. Outside of all of that though, the album is sequenced like really, really well. Like, it's a nice ride. You can really put this shit on from start to finish and just let it play. He gonna give you some hype moments. He gonna give you some introspective moments. He gonna give you some R&B moments, some chill vibes, everything. Like, the way that he put this track listing together, that's what sequencing is, by the way. Is when you match the songs based on how they sound sonically, put your track list together, make sure they flow into one another seamlessly and on the same beat and tempo and stuff like that. Drake does a really good job at that. Even with some of these beats where it's like the song kind of ends a certain way and then the sample will just play and ride out, and like you're hearing this sample and then at some point that sample transitions into the next song. Like, that's dope. I really, really wish more artists would be more intentional with how they sequence their album and make sure that it actually flows and make sure people are not thrown off by why this song came after this song. Like, very, very good. Shout out to 40 for being a part of that process, because I know he's a Drake's engineer and he helps master songs, whatever. So I know when it comes to putting that track list together and making sure it flows well and the sequence well, he has a big hand in that. All Drake's projects tend to be sequenced very well. And as a person who, I have a degree in music and sound technology and all this other stuff, I know how to mix and master and engineer stuff. As a person coming from that side of the world also, I fuck with that and I really appreciate it. As far as the actual music and the songs are concerned though, like, all of these are fire. In my opinion, I didn't really have no, I don't like this song, or, there was maybe like 2 or 3 that I feel like, we didn't really need it. He could have left it out. But like I said, the sequencing is so good or whatever. I'm just like, it fit. Even though I probably could have done without it, it fit. Champagne Poetry is fire. Drake always, always, always comes in these projects with a fire fucking intro. Champagne Poetry, another one. It's probably one of his best at this point. I know people were like really gassed about Tuscan Leather off of, what project was that? Nothing Was the Same. Like, Over My Dead Body off of Take Care is also another one that's like highly revered and respected between, Drake fans. Yeah, like, Drake comes in with like fire intros all the time. I personally like Keeping the Family Close off of Views. I feel like that was a great intro, as well as the other 2 I just named. Legends off of If You're Reading This Is Too Late is probably still my favorite. I fucking love Legends. That was a fire Legend is a fucking phenomenal song. The sample, So Anxious, come on now. Like, and he snapped on that fucking beat. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about CLB. Yes, Champagne Poetry definitely lives up to the hype of Drake having these fire intros as well as outros. Like, the Remorse is good too. Like, people forget because they get stuck on the intro. Drake is not one of these artists that shies away from having a fire outro as well. The Ride off of Take Care was really probably his best outro. I think, is that an outro? I believe so. I think that was the last song on there. I believe so. But because I know he put out a deluxe edition that kind of went past it. But I believe on the original Take Care album, no deluxe, The Ride was the last song that closed out the project and was fire. Same with Nothing Was the Same. We had got Pound Cake / Paris Morton Music 2, which I always love, a part 2, a part 3, part 4, whatever, to popular songs. Like, fire. Even on Views, I think Views was the record that closed out. Fire. Like, he don't miss with these intros and outros. Champagne Poetry and The Remorse are again proof. Like, intro and outro, Drake got that, and he pays attention well and makes sure he come with some solid intro and outros. I love Poppy's Home. That's a fire record. Like I said, big props, big shout out, whatever you want to call it, to Nicki Minaj for her small vocal contributions to that song. It really, like, I don't know, for some reason it really, like, sealed the deal on that song. Really made it a dope moment on the project. Girls Want Girls with Lil Baby, that's probably my favorite record to this day. I'm still debating on that between Girls Want Girls and Way Too Sexy. Like, and I know Way Too Sexy has a corny sample. Like, that song that it samples, that I'm too sexy for my shit, like, that shit that it samples or whatever, that has been, like, ran into the ground by the movie industry and all kind of shit, the commercials, and that it's, you know, like, we've heard that song time and time again over the years, made fun of, all kind of shit. But I really like the way Drake flipped this shit over this trap ass beat and had Future and Young Thug on there, like, snapping. Like, the song is fire, no matter how you feel about it. It's #1 song in the country at the time of recording. So feel how you want to feel about it, but that song is fire. That shit slap, bro. But Girls Want Girls, the first time I heard Girls Want Girls, like, I went crazy because the hook, I knew the hook immediately was fire. Like, so I'm still debating, is Girls Want Girls my favorite, or is it Way Too Sexy? Don't know, but I really like In the Bible with Lil Durk and Giveon. It grew on me a lot. Like, when I first heard it, I was fucking with it, but it was like, all right. But as I continue to listen to it, you know, do what I do, I was like, oh shit, this on fire. Love All with Jay-Z also. Drake came through with a very, very solid hook. Jay-Z, another immaculate verse. Fair Trade with Travis Scott, also fire. Like, I really love Drake's whole flow on that fucking song. The beat changed. Travis Scott coming on there, sliding, giving us multiple flows. Like, I fuck with that. Way Too Sexy, you know, turn lit. TSU, now there was a little discrepancy with TSU, right? Because it contains an R. Kelly sample. Obviously, Drake has to pay R. Kelly to sample his music. Samples are tricky. I feel a way about R. Kelly and all the bullshit that he's in and how he's tarnished his musical legacy behind shit that he did not have to do. But that's another episode for another podcast, really, because I don't want to talk about this nigga. I like TSU, though. It's a good song. In Too Deep. I really love the way In Too Deep starts. That break in the middle, and then it goes in the Future, rapping over this trap ass beat. Fire. Pipe Down also grew on me. Like I had to really tune into what the fuck Drake was saying in order to like this song, and I'm so glad I did because that's probably one of the best songs on the fucking project. Yebba's Heartbreak, right? This is an interlude. Didn't necessarily need it. That's one of the ones. It's one of the ones where I didn't necessarily need it, but appreciate it nonetheless. Shout out to Yebba. She's a dope singer. No friends in the industry. I got it. Yeah, and that's a fact. I fuck with no friends in the industry as well. Like Drake got some bangers on here. Night Talk with 21 Savage and Project Pat, banger. I gotta feed the streets. My pistol gonna bleed the streets. Like banger. I really after this song, it's been cemented as clear in my brain that we need a 21 Savage and Drake collab project, because they haven't missed yet. Go back to Sneaking off of More Life. That's Drake and 21 Savage. They bodied that. Mr. Right Now off of Savage Mode 2. Like they bodied that. Now we got another hit with Knife Talk. Like, yeah, if 21 and Drake decide a joint project is what we need, I'm going to be receiving that because I agree. 7 a.m. on Bridal Path, like immaculate. I really love, well, we all love, it's been widely discussed on the internet. These time and place records, 7 a.m. on Bridal Path, 6 p.m. in New York, 5 a.m. in Toronto. Like anytime Drake gives us time and or location, even date, because he got one like March 14th on, I think, Scorpion. Like anytime he does these records, like we about to get some bars over a fire beat. He gonna be throwing shots. Something in Calabasas. What song was that? Something in Calabasas. I forgot. But these time and date records, always giving us lyricism and expressing his grievances, and I fuck with shit like that. Race My Mind is cool. I think that was one of the ones I was like, oh, I'm iffy on it. Maybe could have left that out. It's still a good song. It's just, it is what it is. Fountains with Tim's is fire. Get Along Better with Ty Dolla $ign. Ty Dolla $ign is another frequent collaborator of Drake that I need a joint project from. Like After Dark with Ty Dolla $ign and Drake. Like, and they got plenty of great records together. I really want Drake and Ty Dolla $ign to lock in and give us this style of music that they create together in a full album. Because Get Along Better, also fire. I not fuck with the message behind that. Like, this ain't about revenge. It's like, I just get along better with your homegirl. Like, I know it's not right. I know me and you, we ain't work out or whatever. But, she reached out to see if we had, reconciled. The answer was no. She shot her shot, and, we just get along better than what me and you had. So I like those kind of introspective, like R&B records that are real, because that shit really do be happening in real life. And people be getting mad, but it happens. It's real. Sometimes you are introduced or you meet somebody through your significant other. Your significant other don't work out. It's been some time. That person that you met through them reaches out, or you reach out to them by chance, and they fucking with it, and y'all vibe. That's life. You Only Live Twice, which I peeped at. It says supposed to be YOLO Part 2, because it's called You Only Live Twice, and YOLO is You Only Live Once. But we got Wayne on there, Rick Ross. Fire verse from Wayne. Rick Ross and Drake also don't miss. I fuck with that record. I Miss You Too. Drake and Cudi. I think this is the first time they worked together. If it's not, I don't remember the other song. But I also feel like this one probably could have been left off or just released on its own. Not saying it don't fit or nothing. It's a good record. It's just, I was like, it is what it is. Fucking Fans is also a good record. Written and produced by Party Next Door. So shout out to the OVO fam because I fuck with anytime Party Next Door and Drake decide they want to collab together on a song, we get stuff like that. Fucking Fans and Come and See Me and all the other hits that they have together. Like I really fuck with them as a writing duo, as a production duo. Like shout out to Party Next Door because he should have been featured on here. That's probably, I'm gonna get into what I would have done after this, but just because we here for Fucking Fans, I would have let Party Next Door sing that first verse that Drake was singing, and I would have let Drake rap the rest of the song. The song is fire how it is, but I hear Party Next Door's background vocals on the record, and I just felt like his tone of voice, the way he carries his notes when he sings, would have lended better to the track. But like I said, I still fuck with Fucking Fans. Great song, also great message. And then the Remorse to close it out, like fire outro, Drake rapping his ass off again over another dope beat. And then if you let that loop back into Champagne Poetry, you will understand why this album is good and why it's sequenced well, like I said, because that outro going back into Champagne Poetry for the intro, fire. Do it one time and see if I'm bullshitting. Just do it one time. Let the Remorse close out and your shit loop back into Champagne Poetry and see if it don't change your life real quick. But accompanying the project, we also got a music video. One of, I hope we get more music videos from this project. But what we have at the moment, the number one song in the country via Billboard Hot 100, Way Too Sexy. I really like Way Too Sexy as a song. The video is fire. I like the way that it was shot, like the frames, that still frame kind of shit where it's like you can see movement happening, but it's not like, it's more like live art, if that makes sense. Like it's motion happening, but not in a way to where it's like, oh, this is a video. It's more like you're catching a painting readjust itself in the last second or whatever. It's dope. I like the way that shit was shot. It looked like like a YouTube ad or like commercials or whatever. You know, Drake had his little wet in there or whatever. The Michael Jackson nods are dope as fuck. And I really like that Drake is very serious about not taking himself too serious. Like, if you watch the video, it's comical in a way, but it's also dope. And it's also what you'd expect from Drake, but not in a predictory way, not in a way that's like, oh, I'm tired of seeing this. More like, this is Drake being a rapper, but not one of them niggas that just gotta be overly macho and aggressive and gangster and hood and thug all the time. Like, he don't mind putting himself in a position to have people laugh at him and he can laugh at himself. Like, I really like that. I like how sometimes he takes rap and be like, you know what? It's very serious right now at the moment and I just want to have fun. So let's make a cool little fun video. That's Way Too Sexy. And I like that Drake is okay with showing his sense of humor, because if you know anything about Drake, you know he's an actor first, and he's not one of those like actors that shies away from comedies. Like, he likes doing comedies, likes having funny little one-liners and shit. I like that he translates that into his music and his videos. Fire to me. But to close this out, because I feel like it is getting quite lengthy and I don't care, this is my podcast and my review. But I don't want to talk your ear off. So what I would have done for the project, this is that time of the review where I just explain what I would have done, right? So maybe 16 to 18 songs. Like, we at 21 at the moment. I listed like maybe 2 or 3. I think like Yeba's Heartbreak and Race My Mind probably could have not made it. I Miss You Too with Kid Cudi probably could have been left off as well. Like, there may be like 2 or 3 songs that I would have probably left off to get down to like 17, 18 tracks. And I feel like that would have been solid. On top of that, I don't know, the project is pretty much solid after that. I think what I probably would have done differently as far as features are concerned is just had more women artists. Like Yeba's on there singing, she did great. Even though I probably could have did without the song. Tim's is on there, she held it down. Like I said, we got Nicki talking on one of the tracks or whatever. But as far as the women are concerned, that's pretty much it. Outside of like samples and whatnot. And that's not a bad thing, but I'm just saying, like, if we playing into the certified lover boy theme, I would have had some more love on there from the women, because a lot of this album you spent talking about women. So why not include them as feature artists just to like further play into the narrative of you being a certified lover boy? Just have some of the R&B girls on there. I'm thinking like SZA, Doja Cat would have been good on there. Her, Summer Walker. You collaborated with Georgia Smith before. Y'all shit sound great together. Maybe Snow Allegra would have been fire. If you could get Beyonce, that would have been dope as fuck. Nicki giving us a verse would have been fire. I know you and Rihanna might not be eye to eye right now, but if you could swing her way and get her to jump on this album, that would have been fire. And then maybe like a big surprise, like somebody we wouldn't necessarily expect, but we know would have gave us like a fire song, Erykah Badu. That's just my opinion. Like, have the R&B girls on there, from the SZAs to the Hers, Summer Walkers, Doja Cat, playing in all kind of arenas as far as her musical sound. That would have been fire. But then like a big surprise feature that we wouldn't have expected, like Beyonce or Erykah Badu, Rihanna. I think people would have expected Nicki, but it still would have been like a big moment, because coming off of Seeing Green, like, y'all had it set up for her to get on Certified Lover Boy and wreck shop. But I respect the choice that you made to just give her, some talking points. But that's what I would have done as far as the features are concerned. And then, to close things out, I would have dropped the deluxe edition, but then featuring the niggas. You know what I'm saying? So maybe 6, 7 more songs or whatever, featuring Chris Brown, Party Next Door and Division would have been dope on a track. Maybe you could have did something really big and surprised people. Got Kendrick on there, done another song with J. Cole, Andre 3000. Like, these are all people, the guys anyway, that you have songs with that lend to R&B that probably would have fit that Certified Lover Boy theme really well, because Poetic Justice with Kendrick Lamar, still fire. Hit It in the Morning with J. Cole, still fire. The Real Her with Andre 3000, still fire. You even could have really shot this and grabbed Usher, the Certified Lover Boy himself. Like, who's bigger in R&B music as far as like impact on the game than Usher, outside of the other nigga who you sampled already? And that's as far as I'm willing to allow that to go. Because if R. Kelly would have got a feature on this fucking album, I don't know how I would have felt about that. But that's just what I would have done. Like, made Certified Lover Boy more of a R&B experience. Like, the music sounds great the way it is. The project sounds great the way it is. But now that I'm thinking about it, I like that the features were a bunch of like male rappers, because it gave us them, but in a emotional state, not emotional in a negative way, but they wrote with a lot of feeling and heart. Like, their verses, for the most part, all of their verses came with like some kind of mention of women and heartbreak and stuff like that. So that's dope. But I'm just saying, if it was me, I would have let the girls, really run up my feature list on the regular project, and then had the guys come in on the deluxe and really made it like a full R&B experience from both sides, but like with rap and hip hop, because this nigga Drake, he's good at blending the two genres like seamlessly, and it works out well all the time. But I don't know, that's what I would have did. I really fuck with the project the way it is, though. As you can see, I'm coming up on an hour of talking about this shit. Like, the songs, like the sequencing, the rollout. I do not like the album cover. I'm gonna be real about that. I don't like this emoji shit or whatever. But then I'll be looking at the shit on the Spotify thing, like your visualizer or whatever, how they be moving and rubbing their stomach and all this other shit. I'm like, this nigga Drake, boy. Like, I don't like it, but it's cool at the same time. But outside of that, the music is fire, for my final thoughts. Drake is still a really good rapper, and he's been high tier, top tier rapping for a very long time. Very, very consistent. And I hate when people don't give him his credit as a lyricist, because he got records like Champagne Poetry and 7 a.m. on Bridle Road, The Remorse, where he's just like rapping over fire beats, just like straight bars. And it's so authentically hip hop that it's just like, I don't know, it be throwing me off sometimes when people like try to talk down on Drake as a rapper. Like, he is not one of the best people doing it right now. I know you can look at your Kendricks and your Coles and all this shit. Even Big Sean is up there with those guys, and he don't get mentioned as much. And compare them and say like, oh, these people might be a little better. That's your own personal preference and opinion, but like, we're not gonna sit up here and act like Drake don't be sliding, because he does. He's bigger than life. We've never seen a rapper, never. I know you're gonna say Jay-Z, like, we've never seen a rapper have this level of impact on the game, have this level of a run. Like, Wayne had a solid run, but like, Drake has been on fire since So Far Gone mixtape, which came out before his debut album, Thank Me Later. Like, ever since that mixtape, that was his third mixtape now. So Far Gone is his third mixtape. Ever since that mixtape, Drake has been on fire. That mixtape is what gave us Say What's Real and Best I Ever Had, which turned out to be his lead single just for his entire career. Like, he's been on fire since. We've not had an artist do that. And he's just continuing that streak with Certified Lover Boy. Like, the music is good. I really appreciate him being honest as a musician, as a rapper, like making music for men to go through their feelings and emotions in a real way, not just capping all the time, trying to hide behind this extra macho ass bravado and act like bitches don't be getting under our skin sometimes and putting us in our feelings and shit. Like, Drake make music for people who are real about the fact that, damn, sometimes these bitches be having me fucked up, or I don't even like, sometimes these women be having me in my feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I like that Drake makes music for guys who are okay with that. Like, he's cool enough to where when he raps about the money he has and the women he's fucking, like, you believe it because we see it. Like, we know Drake is rich as fuck. Like, global ambassador for the Toronto Raptors. Like, he got his own fucking double-decker plane. Like, that nigga looked at Soul Plane and was like, I want one of them for real, and got it. You know what I'm saying? Like, mansion is not even a mansion. It's a fucking estate. It's huge. Like, you see every quarter, every 9 weeks, shout out to the kids in school, like, we hear about some girl and Drake, some rumor with Drake and this girl, LeBron's son's teammate's mom, like, all kind of shit. Like, we see the shit that he actually be rapping about. So when he talk that big shit talk, it's real. So I also fuck with the fact that he says, you know what? I got the money. I got all the women. I got big ass houses. I love my kid. But at the same time, these girls still be fucking me up. Like, how much I got to spend to get these bitches to pipe down? You know what I'm saying? Like, I really fuck with that Drake is living his raps in a real way that's very, very different from somebody who is pretending to live the lifestyle that Drake is actually living. But to end things, I fuck with this project. I don't know if it's his best. I still have to like continue to sit with it and listen to it or whatever, because he got some amazing projects. I don't know where this ranks quite yet. It's definitely not the worst album or on the low side of the scale. Like, it's definitely going to be on the top side of the scale, but I just don't know where At this point in time, he broke records with this album once again. He has 9 out of the 10 top spots on the Billboard Hot 100 at time of recording. I think they're getting ready to release the new week for the Hot 100, but right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10. They all belong to Drake from Certified Lover Boy, with Way Too Sexy being at number 1. It has the number 1 album in the country on the Billboard 200 for albums. Like, and I think I just seen a headline. He's gonna have it number 1 again for the second week. So the Drake's reign, like, it's unstoppable and it's massive. And I really fuck with it because I've been watching this nigga since Degrassi. I used to watch Degrassi. Like, I remember the first episode of his season or his generation of Degrassi. And to see this nigga come from Wheelchair Jimmy, he wasn't even in the wheelchair when the show started. To see this nigga come from Jimmy balling to biggest rapper in the world, phenomenal. And the music, it just speaks volumes, bro. Like, I know some people are probably sitting back like, damn, how the fuck does nigga keep doing this shit? But then when you press play on the music, you get it. You're like, damn, he's really the biggest rapper in the world right now because the music is actually good. Period. The video is good. The content is good. The albums are good. The feature verses, like, everything that would lend itself to making somebody the star that Drake is actually good. So it's like, we just have to accept it. Stop trying to find holes and reasons why this is the way it is. Like, the content is good. But I'm tired of talking. That's my Certified Lover Boy review. If you made it to the end of this, appreciate you for rocking with me. I hope I added something to the conversation that is different from all the cliche shit that everybody's been saying since this album dropped. And catch me on the next one. I got more album reviews coming. I know I'm behind on TV shows and doing reviews for those. PlayStation just had an event that I also wanted to cover. I got a bunch of shit, more shit coming for Talk and Play Blurredcast. Just keep rocking with me. Appreciate you for being here again. That's it. I'm out.